Okay, good afternoon. This is Brian with Premier Trader University and NetPicks.com. Thanks for being with us today. Our webinar topic is the reversal of fortunes options trading strategy. A little bit of a play on words there in the title, but the exciting thing is we're going to be giving away one of Mike's favorite strategies today when it comes to trading options. And we'll get you more details here towards the end of the webinar. I want to encourage you today to make this interactive. Just to think of it as we're sitting around the boardroom having a casual conversation. If there's any question that comes up, get that into the text box. I've got coaches here, and myself and Mike will be answering your questions in real time. So no question is a dumb question. Make sure you get it in there. And at the end of the session today, we will open up for kind of a live Q&A part, but feel free throughout to put those questions in. Again, this is Brian Short. I'm one of the managing partners here at NetPicks. I'm going to be joined in a few minutes by Mike Rixey. He's our senior options analyst and our options guru here at NetPicks, and he's going to take us through the bulk of today's presentation. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. And for those that are just joining us, once again, this is Brian Short. I'm the managing partner here at NetPicks, and I'm going to intro the first part of the presentation today. And then Mike Rixey, our senior options analyst, is going to take us through, show us the charts, show us his style of options trading, the strategies that he uses, and then obviously at the end, we're going to have a way for you to get involved in the university. And also at the end, I want to stress, we're going to be giving you today a free strategy. One of his favorite setups, it's called the reversal trade. And so we'll give you more details here as we get into the presentation. So just a little bit of a little bit about us, who we are here at NetPicks. We've been around quite a while, since 1996, 18 years in the business. And we've had the opportunity to really work with a lot of different traders in that time frame, thousands of traders. And one of the things that makes us very unique here at NetPicks is all of us are traders first. I'm going to show you a slide in a second with all the individual coaches that we have on the team. And I can tell you that I took trades today. I know Mike managed his trades today. And that's, I think, one thing that makes us very unique. So if you need a reason why you should listen to us, is we're active traders. We're in the market. We're in the trenches, so to speak. So we're going to show you today a demo of the PTU swing trader, and specifically how that can be applied to trading options. And it's a very great strategy. It gives you an edge, and that's what we need as traders, right? We need an edge in the market. And so Mike is going to showcase that on the charts. You're going to see how the trade setups print, how they identify trades, and how that really works. We're going to give you, as I mentioned, one of our favorite trade setups for free. It's called the reversal trade. And you're going to have access to that at the very end. And, we're going to really show you some results, how we're killing it, so to speak, on using options. Options are great. You can make, anywhere from 30 to 70% on an option. And we're going to show you at the end how you can copy our results. So, as I mentioned, here's the coaching staff. I'm Brian Short again, top right. Mark Soberman, the founder, is top left. And here's Mike, who's going to be speaking here in a moment. And we do have Ron on the call today, and Will are going to be helping out with the questions. And we've got coaches all over the world. James is over in the UK. Adnan helps us out, and Shane Daly, all good coaches, so to speak, here on the NetPicks team. So I want to give you a little bit of information about Mike and where he came from to today, and how he's been very active in options trading. So Mike first became interested in options when he was in college, and like a lot of us, when we're looking for the different ways that we can approach the market, options just seem to be what tripped his trigger. And he was really fascinated by the ability to have control over a large priced stock, high-priced stock, for very little capital. And along with that goes the ability, as I mentioned, to make a pretty good profit on that, anywhere from 30 to 70% in a very short period of time, in a matter of days. And so that's what intrigued him. And where he got his big success in the beginning was trading earnings releases. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. I know we've got a lot of experienced options traders. You know, during that season, you could put some options trades on based on what was going on. You could do a straddle and hope that the news coming out would somehow impact the stock price in a positive way or a negative way, and it would just be a surprise, and you'd get to kind of reap the benefit of that. That worked for a period of time, but Mike ended up giving all that back, like many of us. And so from that point, he started to want to discover more about options and what it would take to become successful. After going to the CBOE floor, he devoted the next 2 years to learning everything and anything that he could about options, and really diving into the different components of options, the best way to trade options, and everything that there was about them. It wasn't too long after that he discovered NetPicks. I remember this. It was a number of years ago. We asked him to be a speaker at one of our live events in Las Vegas, and he did an awesome job. And from that point forward, he's been a senior options analyst here with us at NetPicks, and a very active member of our team. He's our options guru and our go-to person on anything options. And if you ask Mike, he'll tell you that he also is an active day trader. He trades futures, but his passion and where he focuses on and where he makes the bulk of his trading income, it is stock and options. So that's a little bit of Mike on Mike, and he again is going to be on the presentation here in just a few minutes. I want to share with you just a few things about options to hopefully kind of pique your interest if you're brand new, or just reinforce some things you probably already know if you've got some experience. So first of all, there are literally tens of thousands of professional options traders and speculators. So it's, a lot of times I think when we think of options, we think about risky, you stand to lose everything. We don't trade options that way, okay? So you have to have the right knowledge and the right approach to trading options. And if you have those key components, which we're going to show you in a moment, you can have some very, very good success in this field. And so just because it's a little bit obscure to you if you're brand new, not something you're fully aware of, just keep an open mind when it comes to trading options. So one of the things that we look for as traders in any market, whether we're trading futures, Forex, in this case we're talking about options, one of the things we look for is liquidity, right? We want to know that we can get into and out of the markets very easily and without a lot of slippage, without a lot of cost, and options really do provide that. The number of contracts traded in 2013 was over 1.1 billion on the CBOE. The average daily volume is 2.3 million contracts. That equates to a value of $574 billion that is being controlled on those contracts. And the open interest is 270 million. That's the amount of contracts that are open, not closed. People are in a position. And then finally, as traders, we're looking to, individual traders, we're looking to maybe trade 1, 2, 3 contracts and just take a piece of that kind of liquidity. The average transaction, number of contracts traded, is 14 contracts. So, the point I'm making here is it's a very liquid market. And as individual traders, we're just looking to get a small piece of that. The CBOE is just one exchange, and overall there's 2.3 billion contracts in equities traded in 2013. And we're seeing the same or higher levels in 2014, so nothing is changing there. Options are a very good means of potentially trading and getting involved in that market. Now, one of the things that kind of get overlooked, when it comes to options, you think about trading options on stocks, right? But index options are very popular too. So you've got the SPX that trades over 174 million contracts, the VIX 110, the Qs over 25 million contracts. So those are places where you can look to get involved with contracts, with options also. This page is meant to show you kind of the top 30 instruments that can be traded. Obviously, Apple at the very top here. On a daily basis, it trades 200,000 contracts. And the lowest one, the top 30, Hewlett-Packard, trades 10,000 contracts on a daily basis. Again, the key point we're making here is very liquid. You can get into and out of these positions very easily. So as I mentioned, some of the stigma that comes with options is that they're too complex, right? There's just there's the delta and in the money and out of the money, and they're expensive, right? That somehow they're more expensive, that the commission is more expensive, and that there's huge risk, right? You stand the chance to lose the whole value of the option if it expires worthless. But the bottom line here is, if you trade options properly, we never let an option expire worthless. We do put on a certain amount of risk, and then we get out of the position, either at the stop or the target. Are they expensive? No. I mean, in relation to other instruments you could trade, they're about on par with those. And when it comes to complexity, yeah, there's a few other things you got to know. You got to understand what the underlying instrument you're trading. But once that's all explained to you, it really becomes fairly easy, like anything that you're going to learn. And it literally can take 20 minutes a day to review your charts, put your trade setups on, manage any open trades that you're in. And I think that, to me, is one of the keys. If you're an active day trader, you know the stress that you have when you're sitting in front of that screen stressing about the trade. You don't have that with options. That's the one thing I like about this. And Mike's going to show you here in just a minute how that works in more detail. Leverage, you might not be able to trade an Apple straight up, the stock. It's very expensive. But with options, we can partake in some of those higher flying stocks at a fraction of the cost. Consistency is important. We like to look at the same names every week. We don't get into scanning the system, looking for that opportunity, trying to figure out what the next high-flying stock's going to be. We use the same stocks week in and week out. And so we're going to show you a few of those here in just a moment. And then flexibility is important. If you're trying to short a stock, you know that there are some issues. You've got to make sure it's not hard to borrow. You got the downtick rule in some cases, and with options you can play the upside as easy as playing the downside or the short side. So that's one of the great things. So I'm going to go to the charts here in just a moment here. So Mike, get ready. But we're going to show you again the setups, how they present themselves, and specifically how you can get into and out of options that Mike watches. And some of the keys here is you don't want to overtrade, right? You want to let these trade setups play out. Sometimes they play out over multiple days. And so you definitely don't want to overtrade. And as I mentioned before, you can see returns on each option in the 30 to 70% in a matter of days. So that's pretty exciting to me. I mean, and then key to that is the lack of stress that you have in letting those trades play out. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mike, and he's going to take us through the charts here and show us the PTU method of options trading in action. So, Mike, you are up.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for that intro. A lot of great topics have already been covered here. I always enjoy talking about options. It's a topic that it just really gets me excited. Just seeing the poll questions, just seeing the response to the poll questions was pretty exciting to me. Just seeing the amount of interest there, people already trading options. I was pretty surprised to see how many of you were profitable. That 51% number that we saw from people that responded, that's higher than what we typically see in a lot of the webinars that we hold. So it just goes to show that if you're struggling to reach that profitable side, you're in the right place. I think options are it's just a great area to be in. And as you'll see here in a moment when I show the charts, it's very easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's a very clean approach to the markets, which you'll see here in just a second. So let me pull up my screen here right now, and we will jump over to the chart. So Brian, just let me know if my screen is not popping up. So this is the slide that Brian just got done covering, and the 4 bullet points here, these points really are what shape me as a trader. When I look at the style of trading that I take, everything needs to fit around this framework. So the time aspect, it's really big for me. I'm one of those people that I don't like to say no to anything, and my wife would back that up. It drives her nuts sometimes, because any opportunity that comes my way to help somebody out, to get involved in a different business opportunity, whatever it might be, it's just very difficult for me to say no to people. And as a result, I get stretched thin at times. I mean, I don't have a ton of time each and every day to devote to the charts. I don't have hours on end to day trade. So when we polled you guys, and on average, most of you are looking at the markets for at least 2 hours a day. 60% of you were looking at the charts for more than 2 hours a day. I mean, it takes a lot of time, and I just don't have that every day. I wish I did. I don't. I actually, Brian mentioned that I day trade. I've actually placed some day trades. I've actually placed some day trades here in the past week or so. That's the first time I've day traded in months. My schedule just hasn't allowed it. So when I'm able to, it's definitely fun for me. I like to stay engaged in the markets as much as possible. But my main focus, my number one style, my number one market is options. Hands down, it's been so for the past 10 years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So time aspect's huge for me. I like to get in and out in 20 minutes a day or less. Brian talked about the leverage and the consistency. It's huge for me. Back when I started in college, I was a poor college student. I didn't have access to a lot of funds. I needed those leveraged products. The options allowed me to play some of the high flyers, which was very important to me. I wanted to trade the most active names. I wanted to trade the most liquid names. And by using the options, I was able to play names like Apple and Google and some of those higher flyer names that are in the news all the time. And those are the areas that I want to be in. I don't want to scan names on a daily or even weekly basis. Brian touched on this. This is just huge as well. I think it's very difficult to be successful like that long term, because you're going to pull up names off of your scan that you're not familiar with. Names that you're not familiar with the levels of volatility, how they react to certain news events, how have they traded recently. That's all very important information that you want to have at hand before you place trades live. So what we talk about and what we preach with all of our students is focus on the same small list of names. Get to be familiar with those names, how they move and how they're priced and how different events affect the price of those names. It's really a big advantage. That was a breakthrough for me when I narrowed my universe of stocks down to a very manageable list. Just made all the difference in the world. And then the flexibility, as we all know, I mean, the past 2 years, it's been a straight shot to the upside until the last, 3-4 days. It's gotten hit hard here on the downside, and I want to make sure I have strategies in place that benefit from that move to the downside. The options, by far, the easiest products out there to use to benefit from those moves to the downside. When I look back over the past 10 years, I've by far made the most money from moves to the downside. Everything escalates. Everything happens a lot quicker. Just look at the daily charts of some of the U.S. index products. The past 2-3 days have wiped out the past 2-3 weeks worth of gains. So everything just happens so much quicker on the downside. That's where a lot of the power is. So as much as we love to see the market going up on a never-ending basis, we all know that markets tend to swing back and forth quite often. So getting back to that two-way market here, like we are right now, that's just I'm pretty excited about that. As you'll see here in a moment, we've been pretty active, and those swings back and forth, they're just ideal. The market conditions right now are ideal for the style of trading that we like to do here at NetPicks. So I'm going to go to the charts here. Enough talk. I know we've got 68% of you are already trading options, so we're probably preaching to the choir here somewhat. So let's get to the charts and show you one of my favorite setups. This is a setup it's been one of my go-to setups for years now. It's a very basic setup, but just because it's basic does not mean it's not powerful. I'm going to show you some of the recent trade results, and they've just been pretty impressive. So let me shrink that down. And the first chart that you're looking at here, does this look familiar to anybody? I mean, I've literally got, this is a daily chart of Apple. I've literally got 10 different indicators on here. I've got trend lines. I've got Fibonacci levels drawn on here. There's a lot of noise. And the reason I bring this up is because I see so many traders making this same mistake. Okay, this is only the daily chart. What happens when you introduce the hourly chart or the 15-minute chart for confirmation? All of a sudden, you're looking at way too many things. As a result of that, you get into a situation where it's difficult to pull the trigger. I've been there. Trust me. I'm speaking to myself. I'm speaking from experience here. So what I have found in my own experience is that the easier that I keep things, the more simple and straightforward that I keep things, the better off I am. If I look at this chart, I can probably find 5 reasons to buy Apple and 5 reasons to sell. Is this clean? Is this easy to trade? It's not. And there's so many systems out there that are like this, where you have so many moving parts, it's just very difficult to trade with any confidence. So what I like to do, because like I shared earlier, I overanalyze everything to death. I need to keep things simple. Compare this chart to what I'm about to show you. Okay, this is Apple. Okay, same product, but notice how different this chart is. Notice how clean and simple this looks. Okay, now this is one of the setup types that I take. This is called the reversal trade. And the reason I'm able to keep this so simple, there's a couple of factors here that come into play that really make this different than any other product, any other system that I've seen out there. I don't know too many systems that take advantage of some of these approaches. And one of those power factors that I talk about all the time is the use of a range chart. If I look up here in the upper left-hand corner, I'm looking at Apple using a range of 6.25. What that means is every candle that I click on, let me drag my data window over here so you can see it. Every candle that I click on, the difference between high and low is going to be $6.25. Every one of them. Does not matter. This has nothing to do with time. So I just showed you a daily chart. Now, those have to print candles at once a day or once an hour if you're looking at an hourly chart. I want you to take everything that you know about a time-based chart, set it aside, because these range charts have nothing to do with time. This range chart on Apple, these bars or these candles, these could take 5 minutes to form. They could take 5 days. It all depends on how active the market is. So a lot of people, going back to that daily chart of Apple with 10 different indicators and trend lines and whatnot, a lot of people feel the need to look at so many factors because they're trying to identify the best moves. They're trying to stay out of the chop. They're trying to pick the best setups. Well, what we do with range charts is it's a built-in chop filter. I don't need to look at 10 different indicators because this range chart, if Apple's not moving, this chart is not going to print very many candles or bars. When Apple really starts to pick up and really gets active, you're going to see more bars, more candles on the chart. So it's really, we're looking strictly at price action. And it was a powerful breakthrough for me because I get a lot of these very clean looking charts, very easy charts to trade. So the second power factor that makes this system different is the use of this trade calculator. Notice here on this trade that's in progress on Apple, notice how we have these plus signs here, we have the dots below, we have the dots above. That is our trade calculator that's identifying entry points, targets, and stops. Okay, this is my secret formula right here for coming in 20 minutes a day or less. Because when I come in and check the charts, I'm not having to make calculations on the run. Not sitting there calculating entry points, targets, and stops. Everything is outlined for me. This map is outlined for me before I ever get into the trade. So when I come in, I typically come in right around lunch to do my lunchtime update just to check any trades in progress or to see if anything new is set up. When I come in and take a look at Apple, I mean, this is a live chart right now. Do I have to do any calculations here? I'm in this short setup, okay, which I'll walk through here in just a second. I'm in this short trade. When I come in and look at it, have we hit targets yet? We haven't hit any target levels. Have we hit a stop? We have not. I can take a quick glance at this chart and move on with my day. There's nothing I need to do here. Okay, a very, very easy approach. Okay, now, like I mentioned, just because it's simple and easy doesn't mean there's not profit potential. I'm going to show you a 100+% winner here on the last close trade, the last trade on the long side, which we'll walk through here in just a moment. So this setup, we're using range charts. We've got the calculator. What makes us set up here? We're looking for major market extremes. Okay, we know markets like to make extremes. Okay, we got extremely overbought on many markets, which is one of the reasons why we saw the sell-off here the last 3-4 days. Okay, we're now seeing some of the products that we look at, they're getting a little oversold. We've seen a lot of selling the last couple days. So what do I look for to identify those extreme market readings? I use the %R indicator. and that is the indicator down here at the bottom. Now, this is a pretty standard indicator in most charting platforms. We're just using it in a little different way. Okay, if I were to open up this %R indicator, you'll notice that I'm looking at a length of 55. A standard default length on %R is typically 14. You'll see 21 from time to time. We stretch it out a bit. We stretch it out to 55. Now, anything over 90 is considered overbought. Anything below 10 is considered oversold. Those readings tell me whether we're at an extreme or not. Now, just because we get overbought or oversold does not mean I jump right in. Okay, but if I go back to the last trade that was closed on Apple, this long trade, okay, we got in because we got oversold on here on %R, but notice that we got oversold way back here. Did I jump right in and buy Apple just because it was extremely oversold? No, I have to wait for confirmation. So step number 2 is to get a close up above the signal line, which is this blue line moving across the screen. Okay, so once I get oversold on %R, I get a close above my signal line. That gives me my long setup. So you'll see the plus sign print here. That's my entry point. I know where my targets are at. I know where my stop is at, which is the series of red dots down below. So in this case, I knew I had to get long. Okay, so when I got long, could I go in and buy the shares of Apple? I could. Okay, but at the time of this setup, I mean, it's a $500 stock. Okay, that's going to tie up way too much of my capital. I'm just a small retail trader. I don't have the capital to put on any type of a decent position on Apple or Google or Priceline. So what I did here is I used the options. Now, if you're an options trader like many of you are, you know, what are the different ways that we could play this? Well, could we buy just a long call? A call option to control the upside? We could. But with a $500 stock, those options are still going to be pricey. Even though they have great leverage, they're still going to be a little pricey. So what else could I do? Well, in this case, I put on a call spread. So what this position looked like, I put on the 530-505 call spread. So I bought the 505 call, and at the same time, I sold the 530 call option. Okay, I sold that 530 call option to help finance the trade. So to put on this position, total cost here, $7.58. Now I put on a standard size contract, which represents 100 shares. So my total cost here was $758 per spread. Now you can trade mini options here on Apple of $758. If that's still a little rich for your account, not a problem. The mini options represent 10 shares of stock, so you can get in for a tenth of the cost. Okay, so regardless of account size, you have the ability to place this type of a trade. Now this one moves straight to the upside. I mean, every trade, I wish every trade was this easy. They're not, but this one was just, we see these quite often. I mean, it was a straight move up to target. I sold out of my position for over $19, booked $1,100 of profit. It was 152% return. Okay, that's just in a couple of days. That's being very strict on the criteria that we look for. Looking for those major market extremes. Now, is every trade going to be 152% winner? No, I mean, this was a home run trade. Okay, but we see enough of these. I'll show you some stats here in a moment. We see enough of these to where you have to take these setups. I mean, there's such a powerful setup. It doesn't happen every day or even every week, but when it does, you know it's time to pounce because the potential is there for some of these really big home run trades. Now, because we were looking at range charts, if you were an Apple trader, I've traded Apple for years, the second half of February and into early March, it was very, very slow. We saw all this noise in here. The nice part about a range chart, there really wasn't much activity here. It was still a pretty clean looking chart. The nice part about the reversal trade, we're waiting for market extremes. Was there an extreme here? Did we get oversold on %R? Did we get overbought? We didn't. So there was nothing for me to do until we came over here and we saw this a little breakout to the upside that failed pretty quickly. I didn't know in real time, I didn't know it was going to fail here. What I did know is we got overbought on %R. We got up above 90. So that's step number one. I know as soon as I hit that 90 level on %R, I know that's step number one for me to get a setup. Step number two is I need to get a close below the signal line. I have to have confirmation from my signal line here, and the confirmation is a close below that line. So I got that right here on this candle. The calculator knows how to read that, so it does all the calculations for me. I get my entry point, and I got short. Okay, now if you missed it initially, I mean, there was a second opportunity to get in sync with this trade. So plenty of time to get on board this trade. Now, what can you do on the downside? Can you buy a put option? You can. Okay, that's one way you could do it. They're going to be a little pricey, so you just have to know that going into it. What I did is I put on a put spread. Okay, so what I did here is I put on the April 535 515 put spread. So I bought the 535 put, and at the same time I sold the 515 put to help finance the trade. So I was able to reduce my cost by almost 50% by using the put spread. Okay, that's a pretty good trade-off for me. Even though I'm capping my profit potential, that's the trade-off. Okay, if I buy a put, I have unlimited profit potential. I profit as long as Apple moves to the downside. By putting on a put spread, I get in cheaper. It's a cheaper cost, but the trade-off is that I cap my profit potential. Once I hit that 515 strike, anything below 515 and I'm going to miss out on. But again, I'm getting it at a cheaper price, so I'm completely okay with that trade-off. Now, this trade hasn't completed. That's why you don't see any numbers here yet. I've got a really nice profit on the table, but until we hit these target levels or the stop level, there's nothing for me to do. Okay, so the system, the setup, it's really as easy as that. Let's go to another one. Let's go to the Dow. Okay, this is the Dow ETF, symbol DIA. Now I'm using a range chart, and I'm using an 80-cent range chart. Now where am I coming up with these numbers? I use 6.25 on Apple. I'm using 80 cents here on the Dow. You know, they just seem like such random numbers. Where do I come up with those? There's a monthly calculation that we use, and we teach you how to do this. It's a very straightforward calculation that tells us which range setting we should use for that month. Now, I also have traders that don't do it monthly. They just do the calculation quarterly. I'm okay with that as well. The whole idea here is we want to update that range setting as market conditions change. We want to make sure we're fine-tuned to the changing conditions, because we know right now ranges are expanding. We're seeing the move to the downside. So we can afford to go for larger setups. If ranges contract, if we get into the slow summertime months, we're going to use a smaller range. Okay, there's just not as much activity. So by using that calculation, we're really able to fine-tune and let the system self-adjust to the ever-changing market conditions. That's why it's so powerful. You know, there's a lot of systems out there that work great in certain conditions, but once market conditions change, the system completely falls apart. We don't have that here with the PTU, because the system is ever changing with the market conditions. Okay, really, really powerful. So if we take a look at the Dow, let's take a look at the last trade that was closed. Okay, we have one in progress that we actually just closed out of this trade today, which we'll walk through here in just a second. But going back earlier in March, notice here we got overbought on %R. We got up above 90. Okay, we got a close below the signal line, which happened right here. Okay, the calculator knew how to read that. Okay, you don't have to sit there and visually look at it and say, well, I don't know if it closed below the signal line. The calculator does all that for you. So it printed the entry point for me. We got short as soon as price action got down to our entry point. Just because the entry prints does not mean we jump right in. We have to wait for price action to get down to our entry point. Now, could we short DIA here? We could, but like Brian said, I mean, it's going to tie up capital. You have to make sure there's shares to borrow, to short. You know, it can be tricky for a lot of people. Well, we can come in and we can buy a put like we did here. I went in and I bought the March 163.5 put for $2.12. Okay, so that was for one contract, total cost just over $200, $212 to be exact. And that gave me control of 100 shares of DIA at $163.5. Okay, so really nice leverage. Now in this case, notice that we'd never even hit my full target. Okay, the trade didn't work out as anticipated. But we did hit our first target, which was enough to move my stop down. I moved my stop down from the full level, and I started trailing the signal line. So I know it's a little tricky to see, but those red dots continue to move down as we move into more profit. And we ended up getting taken out right here. On this pullback, we hit that red dot. That was our trailing stop. So even though I didn't hit full profit, I still was able to sell out of my put option, book $88 of profit. Again, doesn't seem like a ton, but that's still a 42% return, and the trade didn't even do what we expected it to do. We didn't even get down to the full target. Okay, that's just the power of the system. Okay, now we got overbought once again. Okay, no surprise if you've been tracking the markets lately. You know we got overbought. We started to see the selling kick in late last week. We did get short on the Dow. Here's another one where did it hit full target? Not quite. Okay, but the nice part about this trade plan, we're pretty aggressive with money management. The whole time down as we move into profit, we're moving our stop down as well, and we're trailing this signal line. And we just got taken out of this trade here today. Another really nice winner. Okay, and now we're just waiting for the next extreme reading to be printed on %R. We need to either get below 10 again, or we need to get above 90. Okay, until that happens, there's nothing for me to do. Okay, and you can see back here there was another winning long trade as well back in February. So the system, it's not the most active system ever, but that's by design. We want to wait for those major market extremes. Let's take a look at Netflix. Okay, Netflix was making new all-time highs almost on a daily basis earlier in the year. Okay, we got way overbought, which you can see here on %R. Okay, we got up above 90. We got a close below the signal line, which we got right here. We triggered into the short trade. I put on the April 440, 415 put spread. Okay, so I bought the April 440 put. I sold the 415 put at the same time to help finance it. I put it on for $10.45. So just over $1,000 per spread. Now this one, was it the cleanest looking trade? Was it a straight move down to target? No, I mean, we bounced around in here. It took some time. We had to be patient. We hit the first target. The stop went down to break even. Okay, and ultimately we did get down close enough and we actually hit full target. So I closed out of this trade. I booked a 53% return. I booked $555 worth of profit. So just a really nice move to the downside. As a result of that selling, we got oversold on %R. Okay, so all along the way here, we had some long setups print. None of these triggered in. Remember, I said I have to have confirmation from my signal line. So as soon as price action falls below the signal line, you're going to see that this setup right here, it stops printing. It never triggered in. It cancels. Once price action closes back up above the signal line, the trade prints again at a new level. That one never triggered in. That one canceled. We get a whole series of cancellations in here because we lost confirmation from the signal line. We finally got a long trade to print and trigger in over here. This one didn't work out. It's not perfect. Okay, this is not the holy grail by any means. This one got in and out, booked a $450 loss. So we had in this chart right here on Netflix, the two most recent trades, we have a winner and a loser. We're still up money. Okay, so that's the design of the system. We don't have to win 100% of the time to be successful. Okay, in fact, let me show you some of these. Let me show you some of these performance reports. These are trades going back to September of last year. Okay, again, Apple, it's been kind of slow. Apple's been, it's been kind of stuck in a sideways pattern for the last number of months, but we've still been active. We've won 3 out of the last 4 trades going back to September. Okay, we've got a really nice profit factor. The profit factor is just telling me, are my winners larger than my losers? Am I making money? Anything over 2, that is my desired level. So a profit factor of 4.44, definitely something that I can be profitable with. Really, really nice results there. Netflix, we talked about Netflix. Okay, we've had 7 trades going back to September. We've won 5 out of the last 7 trades. Profit factor of over 2, that's what I want to see. Really profitable approach. Even with a loser, we talked about a loser mixed in there. We've had 2 losers out of the last 7 trades. It's going to happen. What about the Dow? We talked about the Dow. We've won 6 out of the last 7 trades on the Dow. Now, every trade is not a full winner. We talked about that here. Didn't quite stretch it out to hit the full target, but we still booked a really nice winner. I still have a profit factor over 2. It's 3.6. So these are the types of results that I want to see. And now the best part about this for you guys, you're going to have access to this setup on the names that we talked about. Apple and the Dow and Netflix. You're going to have access to these trade plans at no cost here today. I'm going to give these to you guys for free just to kick the tires a bit. I'm also going to include Google. We didn't talk about Google here today. The reason for that, I'm not currently trading Google at the moment. Okay, if you're involved in the markets, you know that Google had the stock split last week. As a result, It's great. Number one, it's great to see Google split because it lowers the price. It just brings more traders into the ball game. So I'm happy that they split the stock, but I want to give it a couple weeks just to see how the volume plays out. Okay, I want to see where the volume comes into. Are the Class A shares? Is that where everybody's going to be trading? I mean, is that what we're going to be looking at? Are the volumes going to drop off because of the split? So I'm going to give it some time. Ideally, I'd like to give it a couple weeks here. So I'm not currently trading Google. You're going to have access to it. I would highly recommend that you give it at least another week before you jump in and trade it, just to make sure everything's back to normal, but you'll have access to the other three names immediately. Okay. So this is one of my favorite setups. This is one of 3 setups that I personally take. Okay, we have 2 other types of setups that my students have access to, really powerful setups as well. And these systems, the calculator, the 3 different types of setups, these setups work on any stock or ETF. My students have access to the system on any product that they want to look at. You're going to have access to 4 here today at no charge. Now, what I decided to do, I mean, I know there's a lot of systems out there. There's a lot of different ways that we can dissect the markets. Okay, there's a lot of different ways that you can trade options. But like Brian said earlier, it can be overwhelming initially. There's a lot to learn. I mean, there's different terminology and definitions and different ways that you can place these trades. You can trade vertical spreads and long calls, long puts. How do you know where to start? Okay, at NetPicks, we have a very specific methodology for trading options. We have very specific criteria that we look for. So what I decided to do was just to create the options mastery program that really combines the systems that I just got done showing you, the reversal trade and then the 2 other setup types. I'd combine the system training along with an options education program that walks you through start to finish how to trade options the NetPicks way. Okay, if you're not familiar with options, if you're brand new to this, this is perfect. Okay, this is going to take you from beginner to advanced. If you're an advanced trader, if you've traded options for years, we're going to teach you the NetPicks style. Okay, we're going to give you very specific criteria for how to take these trades. So what does this program look like? We're looking to take you from beginner to advanced in 1 month's time. That's the whole idea of this program. So again, if you're brand new, never traded an option before, that's perfectly fine. Okay, this is a great place to start. If you're advanced, we're going to get into some advanced topics here as part of the training course, which I'll talk about next. So here's what you get. You get the complete trading system, all 3 setup types, including the reversal trade that we just got done talking about, all the custom-built indicators, the trade calculator, which was just such a huge breakthrough in my trading. To have that roadmap printed on the chart for us, there's no guessing, there's no coming in and calculating targets and stops on the fly. It's just you don't want to have to worry about that. You want to get in and out and move on with your day. So you're going to have access to that custom-built trade calculator. We're also going to hold a live 2-day training coming up here in a few weeks where we combine the system training along with the options training. We're going to be live 6 hours on both days. Okay, it's going to be a jam-packed 2 days, but it's going to be really fun because leaving those 2 days, you're going to have a whole framework in place that you can go to and get involved in the markets right away. Okay, now after the 2-day training, we're live 3 days a week in our live training room. Okay, that we're live for 60 to 90 minutes each session. We walk through any trades that are in progress, any trades that are setting up. It's a great opportunity to get in there and pick my brain on anything options related, anything that you're confused about on the chart. If you want to run setups by me before you pull the trigger, not a problem. Perfect opportunity to do that. Now, for those of you that are brand new, we also include our Options 101 course. This course is available immediately. Sign up today. You can have access to this course this afternoon. You can get in there, watch the videos, get up to speed with all the terms, definitions, so you're good to go for the 2-day training. Okay, I know it can be overwhelming initially. I've been there. I've been in your shoes. This is really a course designed to really speed up that learning process. And then we'll give you access to our exclusive Owners Club. Okay, the Owners Club is where we have all of the training materials. That's where we have access to the live room, just ongoing content constantly. So it's just a great resource as well. So the 2-day training really split up into 2 different approaches here. For day 1, we're really focused on the active swing trader. the system that I showed you, all of the indicators, how to select the proper range setting, how to come up with the custom trade plans. We'll cover all of that in day one, all of the tricks and tips that I have for trading the system. Day two is really geared towards the specific option strategies that we use. Okay, I've created a playbook. Okay, these are all the criteria that we look for each strategy. So if you want to place a vertical spread, I talked about a call spread and a put spread here today. We'll give you all of the criteria. So you can go through checkpoint by checkpoint and say, okay, do I have the right product? Am I selecting the correct strike prices? You can go through that checklist so you can feel confident when placing that trade. Now, we're strict with our criteria. Okay, we're really picky on what we like to see because we want to make sure the odds are in our favor. So day two, we'll walk through 8 of our favorite option strategies. Now, if you can't attend live, not a problem. They will be recorded. You can review those anytime. It is hosted online, so you don't have to worry about travel, don't have to worry about flights and hotels. Not an issue. You can log in from your home, office, coffee shop, wherever you feel comfortable. You can log in for both days of the training. Now, some of these strategies that we're going to talk about, calls and puts, verticals, which we talked about here today, butterflies, iron condors, don't be intimidated by this. Okay, if you did nothing more than learn how to trade calls and puts and maybe a vertical spread over time, you'll be just fine. You can be successful trading those strategies. That's all I did for the first number of years of my trading. But I also realized that we're going to have some advanced students, some advanced traders in here also that want to take their trading to the next level, that want to learn how to trade some of those more advanced strategies. That's great. We're going to talk about those also. So there's a little something in here for everybody, regardless of your skill level, regardless of your experience. Now, the 3 live weekly Q&A calls, this was really important to me because when I look back over my learning curve over the years, when I first got started, I was really frustrated because here I was reading books and watching videos. Everything made sense to me while I was doing that, but I couldn't transfer that over into real market conditions. Sure, I knew what a vertical spread was. It made sense reading a book. But when I went into real market conditions, I didn't know how to place those trades. I really wish I had somebody there to say, hey, am I doing this the right way? Would you do anything different? Okay, so I really wanted to have a room where you had access to a trader that's live every day. Okay, I'm with you guys taking these trades live. This is my hard-earned money on the line. I'm a full-time trader. Okay, if I'm not successful, if I'm not profitable, I've got an issue. My wife's probably not going to be very happy with me. Okay, so the great opportunity to get in there, ask any questions. No topic is off limits. I mean, any topic is fair game. Anything options related. I mean, anything that you may be struggling with. It's a small format, small group size. That's by design, so you can get the individual attention that you need. Just a great opportunity for you to have advantage of the ongoing training. They will be recorded. They're posted on the owner's site same day, so you don't have to worry about missing a session here or there. You can review those at any point in time down the road. The one-on-one course, I mentioned this. This is really designed to get those newer traders up to speed. Key terms and definitions, how to use an option, what affects the price of an option, how are the prices affected by different inputs. We'll talk about the Greeks. Okay, some of the more slightly more advanced topics. So walking away from the one-on-one course, you'll really be ready for the 2-day session coming up here, and we'll talk about that in more detail in just a second. And this course, it's available immediately. Okay, this is the recorded videos that you can watch on the owner's site today yet. Now, the Owners Club, we're going to be live 3 days a week. We already talked about that in the training room. We also track a model portfolio. Okay, so we'll track trades in progress from start to finish. You'll be able to track performance to see how different setups progress throughout the balance of the trade. You'll also be able to ask any questions in real time. We'll take a look at really specific market conditions and trade updates. I also have 30+ tested trade plans. Okay, I mentioned that we're not scanning hundreds or thousands of names on a daily or weekly basis. That's by design. We want to look at the same names on a frequent basis. I have a list of 30 names that you can pick and choose from. Okay, now I'm willing to work with you one-on-one to design a trade plan that really fits your account size, that fits your level of experience. So you'll have plenty of names, plenty of very active names to choose from. Now, the Trade Assist automation, this tool was another big breakthrough for me because back when I first started trading, all of my testing was done manually, breaking out an Excel spreadsheet, breaking out a notebook, and just manually documenting the trades, which it was pretty painstaking work. I mean, it takes a lot of time to do that. What I'm going to show you here is, let me go over to this is one of our other workspaces. This is showing the two other setup types that we use in PTU. And you'll notice that we have some dashed lines here that are identifying the setups. We have an automated tool that has been built that identifies the trades. Now, we're not using this as a robot. We're not using it to trade for us. This is a tool that's really meant for testing purposes. So if I want to test, maybe we should go for a bigger profile, go for larger targets or larger stops or vice versa. We can use this tool to quickly evaluate the performance of the system. So if I come up and pull up a performance report, this is the automated tool showing us the performance going back to October of last year. Okay, you can see USO has been a pretty dynamite performer for us. We've won 11 out of 12 trades. So it's just been one of the profit makers for all of our students here over the past couple of months. So if I want to change any inputs inside of our trade calculator, I can run this automated tool and quickly evaluate what those changes, how they would affect the overall performance of the system. That way we can really stay fine-tuned with the ever-changing market conditions. Okay, so creating trade plans, I literally have hundreds of hours into creating the trade plans. The automated tool has really cut down on that amount of time. It's just a lifesaver for me. Just allows me to focus more on my trading. And that's really just such a big benefit. So we're going to give you access to that tool as part of the owner's site as well. We're going to give you 30 days free. After that, it's just $97 a month. There's no obligation to continue. You can cancel this anytime. We definitely have people that will stay on for a couple of months. Once they feel comfortable with the system, you can cancel that out. Once you cancel, the system is still yours for life. You're just going to lose access to the 3 days a week training, just the ongoing training and support and all the features of the owner's site. Here are some of the names that we have trade plans created for. No surprise that most of these names are pretty identifiable. I mean, we're not trying to recreate the wheel here. These are all the most actively traded names. We've actually added to this list as well, so we continue to add names as market conditions change. But we're very slow to change. We've traded a lot of these names for years now. So I'm sure some of you can look at this list and say, I'm already trading those symbols. It's probably a good thing because we, as options traders, we want to trade the most liquid products. So we have trade plans created for all of these and more. And I've showed you some of the results. Okay, we've looked at Apple, $1,100 of profit. Amazon, close to $900. GLD, which is the gold ETF, close to $400 of profit. Netflix, $555. Okay, I'm literally showing you thousands of dollars worth of profit just on the most recent trades. Okay, that's not me just cherry picking the best results over the past number of months. These are recent trades that have been closed out. TLT, which is the bond ETF that we trade, 80% win rate the last 5 months. Netflix, 85% win rate the last 3 months. Okay, the performance is there. Okay, the system is designed to really be consistent. We're going to have losers, sure, but when our winners are larger than our losers, we can make up ground very quickly when things do not work out. So really, really powerful results here. And as you can see, the system pays for itself in multiples of that very quickly in just a handful of trades. Okay, so for joining us here today, if you sign up here today, we'll give you a few bonuses. We'll give you 2 one-on-one personal coaching sessions. We can work one-on-one with any issues that might pop up or how to create a trade plan, how to handle money management. You'll have access to 2 of those. We'll also tack on an extra 30 days in the Owners Club. So that'll give you 60 days total included with the package. We're also going to knock off $200 off the price just for joining us here today. Now, we have to keep the class size limited. We have to limit it to 55 people. Okay, we want to make sure it's a small format. I would love to take on 200 people right off the bat. We just can't do that. This is a small class size. Make sure you get the individual attention that you need and you deserve. So we've released this program twice here already. We've filled up both classes. This class will fill up as well, no doubt about it. So make sure you do act quickly so you can book a seat and you're ready to go here for the upcoming 2-day session. So just a quick recap of what you're getting. The full system with all 3 setups, all of the trade plans. We're actually up to over 30 trade plans at this point. The automated trade assist software, which I just showed you, the 2-day training, the 101 course, the 3-day sessions each week, the Owners Club with the training room, close to $6,000 worth of value. We're not going to charge you anywhere close to that. Don't freak out about those prices. We just have to put some value on everything that's included with this package. So the investment here, $12.97. Okay, it's a one-time payment. It's going to give you lifetime access to the system, all of the trade plans, all of the options-specific training with our playbook and all the criteria that we look for. Everything is included for $12.97. Now, if we need to split that up into payments, not a problem. We can split it up into 3 payments of $4.97, if that would help you out. So really, like I showed you, I just got done showing the last handful of trades on just a few of our products. The system is paid for itself, just taking the most recent trades on Netflix and TLT and the gold ETF. The system is so incredibly powerful. You're really setting yourself up for future success. Okay, so if you're ready to go, if you want to reserve a seat, again, remember we have 55 seats available. It will fill up. The link to sign up here is netpicks.com/options. You can go ahead and type that link into your browser, and we can go ahead and get a seat reserved for you. An added bonus for the first 5 here today, we'll upgrade you to free lifetime access to the Owners Club. Again, typically it's $97 a month. We'll give you lifetime access to that for the first 5 that sign up. So a huge value, over $1,100 of savings just in the first year. Okay, and again, you'll have access to ongoing training and support, the 3 days a week training, all of the tools in the Owners Club that we talked about over the past half hour or so. Really, really powerful feature, and really hopefully you act quickly so you can capture one of these 5 seats. We're going to sweeten the pot even more. We're going to offer a 45-day unconditional money-back guarantee. If you're not happy after 45 days, you can return the product for a full refund. If you're not happy with the level of support or the training that you've received, if you're not happy with the profit numbers, no questions asked, return the product and move on. Okay, so we're taking all the risk off the table for you. And as always, with any NetPicks product, we do have the best support in the business, so there's definitely a team here ready to help with any issues that pop up during the sign-up process or the setup process. So feel free to call or email us, and we'd be happy to help you out with any issues that may come up. Now, again, like we mentioned at the start of the webinar, we are releasing that reversal setup on those 4 products that we mentioned, that we covered, the Dow ETF, Google, Apple, and Netflix, at no charge. Okay, and you can visit this link here to get access to the free system, PremierTraderUniversity.com/options mastery reversal. I know it's a mouthful, but just go ahead and type that link in and you'll have access to the free system. The password is PTU, so really easy. You can have access to that this afternoon. I will say that the system, both the free reversal system and the full system, the full PTU system, the indicators are programmed for TradeStation and NinjaTrader. So as long as you have access to one of those 2 charting platforms, you can use the broker of your choice. Okay, I personally trade with Thinkorswim, but if you choose another broker, that's perfectly fine. I chart with TradeStation, works great. If you decide to go with Ninja, that works too. So really, really easy to get going here. So again, netpicks.com/options to sign up and reserve a seat for the class. I do want to mention the class will be held on April 24 and 25. Okay, so it is coming up. Again, live 6 hours each day. If you can't attend live, it will be recorded, but really looking forward to those 2 days of training. So let me go back a slide and just to make sure we get the link in for the free system. I'll leave that up and for a few minutes here as well. So Brian, let me throw it back to you and we can start to work through some of the questions.
Okay, thanks Mike. Very good job on that part of the presentation. I always get really excited when I see everything you're doing on the options side of the trading equation, so to speak. If there's any questions at this point, go ahead and get those into the text box. I know Will has been working awesome here behind the scenes, answering all your questions, a lot of rapid-fire questions coming in. There were some that were directed directly for Mike as he was presenting, so if you want to put those in again, that would help us so we don't have to go back through everything. So if there's anything chart-specific, anything option-related, go ahead and put those in right now. Mike, I know one of the questions that did come through was, how do you choose what strike price to purchase at? And what does that really mean when you're buying a 525 call or put?
Well, that's the million-dollar question as an options trader, because if you were to load up a quotes page, you're literally going to see dozens of different strike prices, and you have April options and you have weekly options. How in the world do you know which one is best to trade? And that's really what we spend a lot of time in our training, in the 2-day training. We walk you through our playbook because there's very specific criteria that we look for, and it really narrows that list down. So you're going to know just from our checklist which strike price is best to play. Okay, I know it's tempting. I know a lot of traders initially, they go in and they choose their option based on their account size or what they're, what they can afford, and it's a big mistake that people make, because in most cases that means you're going with the out of the money options. Not a big fan of trading out of the money options. Really would rather trade the in the money options, and we'll walk you through exactly how we select the right expiration cycle, the correct strike price. So if we, based on the strike price, that's the price that we have control of the stock at. Okay, so if we trade a 525 strike call option, we have control of that stock at 525, regardless of how high it goes to. So if it goes up to 550, we have the right to buy the shares of stock at 525. So as the stock moves up, that call will increase in value as well. And I'm sure the question will come as well, do we only buy options? It all depends on the market conditions. We're very strict on our criteria. If everything lines up, we will sell options from time to time as well. Okay, I have no issue with that. We just want to make sure the odds are in our favor. That's why our criteria is designed the way it is, to put those odds in our favor. So hopefully that helps out.
Okay, once again, to clarify, a lot of the links that we talked about, the purchase link, the reversal link, is in your chat box. So take a look for it in the chat box, and you can actually click on it inside the chat box. You cannot click on the PowerPoint presentation. If you try to do that, nothing's going to happen. But again, look for the chat box, and you'll see the link for the reversal system, and if you're interested, the link to sign up for the Options University. Next question, Mike, is Jason's asking, are stops mental, or does, he's referring to Thinkorswim, have a means to input your stop ahead of time? And Mike,
all right, sure. So when we have the stops, you're right. The stops are shown on the chart. Sorry, I started speaking without turning my mic on, so that's a pause. Sorry. So when we see the stops on the chart, you see those visually. Okay, but remember, this is not an automated system, so it's still up to us to actually go in and manage the trade. So for me, let me go back to the charts here. And let me go back to the reversal. And let's go to Apple, because that's the trade that we're in. So if I have my stop in place right here, a lot of times what I will do is I'll place price alerts for myself. So if I know that my stop is at 549.96, I may place my stop, my alert line here, $1 in front of that stop. So once my alert line is hit, I know that I'm approaching a stop level and it's time to come in and check the chart. I format these alerts and I have them sent to my cell phone. Okay, and they're sent as you can send them as a text message, email, so you have alerts sent to your phone. So even if you're out, if I'm out to lunch or if I'm in a meeting, I can get that alert on my phone, know that, hey, the stop has been hit on Apple. I can log into my mobile platform, right on my phone or my iPad, whatever I have access to, and exit the trade accordingly. Okay, that's how I personally do it, because it's a really easy, straightforward approach there. Most brokers allow you to place conditional orders as well. So if you wanted to eliminate the whole alerts step, you can actually, if you're in this Apple trade, you can place a conditional order that says, okay, let's say you're in an Apple put position. Okay, you can say, all right, I want to exit that put position if price is at or above my stop price here. And that order will be executed. It'll sell out of your put position if price session gets at or above that stop price. So conditional orders are perfectly fine. I have a lot of people that use those, and in fact, I use them myself. If I know I'm not going to have access to my computer or not going to have access to my mobile platform, I will definitely use conditional orders.
Okay, let's see here. Looks like we're pretty much caught up, so I'm going to do a final call out for any final questions, and go ahead and get those into us. I want to thank Mike, while I'm waiting for any final questions here, for being on the call with us today. As I think you can feel, Mike is very passionate when it comes to trading options. And it's what he does, his primary source of income as a trader. So we got a few more questions coming in here. Tony's asking what the deal is for the first 5. The deal is free lifetime. So we're going to give you 60 days in the Owners Club to begin with. If you're one of the first 5, you're going to get that for free for life. So where $97 per month would kick in after the 60-day period, you will not have that as long as you're one of the first 5. Let's see here. Rick is asking the question on the free chart template for NT. It's not compatible to the current version. Can we get an update? So, Mike, what's your response on that? And that might be a tech question we take offline.
Yeah, go ahead and send me an email. My email is mike@netpicks.com, and I can work with you directly to make sure you get everything set up properly and everything's good to go.
Let's see here. Link for private access is working. Yes, it's working, and we tested it this morning, working fine. You do need to key that password in. Make sure you key the password in. That's the only way you're going to get into the reversal system. Password again is PTU. And Earl's asking about emailing an ANA. I'm not sure what an ANA is, but if you're asking about the replay, yes, we can email that out to you, Earl, and that'll happen automatically. The Q&A, I'm not sure. The Q&A will be on the replay, so you can just download the video and go to the end. Mohammed asking if we'll keep the offer open, as I don't have enough capital to trade at the moment. We'll run these classes about once a quarter is the frequency, and so you can just check back with us in a few months. Mike, this question did come up quite a bit, but how do you select the dollar amount that you use on the momentum bars? Is that something you teach the members once they sign up?
Yes, it sure is. It's a formula that we either use monthly or quarterly. Most people do it monthly. I do have a few students that do it quarterly. It's a very easy calculation to make. It literally takes about 5 seconds to do, and we have an indicator that tells us exactly what value to use. So there's no questioning what you should be using. It's very easy, very straightforward. That's really the main way that we're able to stay fine-tuned with the changing market conditions.
Greg's asking the question here, if I decide I can afford the training, say a month from now, will it be possible to sign up then? Yes, Greg, you can sign up then and play the replays. I would encourage you, if you can do it, and I'll do it now, it's better to do it live because of that interaction where you can ask questions. If something isn't clear, you can immediately get it cleared up. So that's the benefit of doing it live. Jeff asking the question, does the reversal system work on Thinkorswim? And the answer is no. Thinkorswim is something we're working on, but it's not ready for prime time yet. Stephen asking, is the reversal system useful for binary options? Well, I'll speak for Mike on this. It's not something we've tested. And I know binary options are really popular in the Forex world, but again, it would be something you could potentially take on yourself and prove out that plan. But for what we teach inside the university, we do not use binary options. Greg saying Thinkorswim does not have range bars. Well, Greg, they do. There are some add-ons you can use to simulate range bars. So that is one of the difficulties in Thinkorswim, but you can get them. Let's see. Question being asked, how do you deal with high volatility near earnings releases? I know that's a question you like to answer, so go ahead, Mike.
Yep. I personally do not like trading around earnings. It's just personal preference. A lot of it is just due to my bad experience. But like Brian mentioned earlier, I really found it hard to be successful trading around earnings. Now, with that being said, there are certain strategies that you can use around earnings to take advantage of that high volatility. Certain strategies that involve selling that high premium. So we'll talk about that a little bit here in the training, but for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of trading around earnings. I know we have to deal with the earnings on a quarterly basis, but we're plenty of active enough throughout the rest of the year that it's not a problem for me to sit on the sidelines for a few days around those releases. And in fact, when we get into earnings season, which is about to kick in here this week, that's the time when I trade a lot of ETFs just to make sure I'm still very active and without being overly exposed to one individual equity.
Okay, I know we've got the question being asked, are the first 5 gone? I'm going to find out here in just a moment. I've pinged my admin to give me the first 5 names. I'm going to assume they're gone at this point from the stats that I see, but I'm going to have her confirm who exactly that is, and I will announce it here in just a moment. Again, Kenneth, the advantage of the first 5 today that sign up, they get lifetime access at no additional charge. That $97 a month that'll kick in after the 60 days is waived. So that's the benefit of signing up today on the webinar. Murray making a comment here on the download page. We are putting the final touches on the NinjaTrader indicators workspace right now. Please simply bookmark this page and return within 24 to 48 hours. Do you want to address that, Mike?
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that. Murray, if you're having any issues at all, my email is mike@netpicks.com. Just send me an email and we can connect and I can help you through that process just to make sure everything gets set up correctly. So if you have any issues at all, let me know.
Yep, and let me get the link up. Let's get the purchase link up one more time. We've had the reversal there for a while, but go ahead and get the purchase link. Is again netpicks.com/options. And just go ahead and key that link in just like that, or you can click on the link that I put into the chat box. That is clickable. And my admin is typing right now. She's going to give me the names of the first 5 if you want to hang on just a second. Again, any final questions, we're going to wrap up here in the next 60 seconds to 120 seconds. And we'll call it a session. I want to, again, thank Mike for being on the call with us today. So here are the names. The first 5, Denise R., Alan P., Travis W., Kenneth L., and Sterling C. So those are the first 5 for today. All right.
And
Mike?
Brian, let me just add, I just checked the site, and the Ninja, you'll see under the Ninja section, you'll see the indicators link with a workspace template link as well. So you're good to go there on the Ninja side. But again, if you're having any difficulty with that, just send me an email, mike@netpicks.com.
Okay, thanks again, everyone. Mike, any final comments?
No, thank you to everybody for joining us here today, and to those that signed up. We're really looking forward to the upcoming training. Looking forward to working with you. For those of you that downloaded the free system, enjoy your time with that system. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, and look forward to hearing from a lot of you here down the road.
All right, thanks again, everyone. Have a great rest of today.